Nicole has more with another perspective.
Yeah, and so far 21 counts have been read in court in Boston for Dzhokhar Tsarnaev, all 21 guilty. I'd like to bring in now Mike Barnicle. He's a former writer for the Boston Globe. He was in Boston that day, but joins us now via the phone from New York City. A lot of honesty just now from our Teddy Bruschi. What is it like for you, who was there in the city when the bombing happened, to hear what's happening in the courtroom now?
Well, Teddy touched upon the uniqueness of the day, which is it's an unusual day in New England and in Boston, but it's an unusual day in the country as well. It's a holiday, Patriots Day. Marathon ends up and has been for years just a 26-mile-long block party. And it is unique in the sense that nearly everyone I know, nearly everyone probably in greater Boston and New England knows someone who participates in the marathon as a runner for various causes or whatever, and knows someone who attends the marathon. It's from Hopkinton into Boston. It's people filled with joy. The city shuts down. The city spews incredibly young. People are there from all over the globe. And then 2 years ago, nearly 2 years ago to the day, you have this shattering event where 3 people are killed at the marathon prior to the police officer, young Sean Collier, being shot over at MIT a day later. And you have hundreds of people maimed, injured, losing limbs. And it changed the nature of that event. It changed certainly the lives of everyone attending the marathon. That day, it was a day again filled with joy and marred by these explosions, and now it's being recreated and replayed in the course of a trial that's been going on since March. And the verdicts being rendered today bring sort of a conclusion to one phase, but then obviously, because of the guilty verdicts, there's going to be a capital phase of the trial, death penalty phase, probably beginning next week. So it all comes back to everyone, not just the participants, not just those maimed, not just the victims. In a sense, hundreds of thousands of people were victims because of the memory and the day marred by what happened.
You talked about the resolve of the people in the city. On a personal note, my best friend is one of those people. She lives a block away from the finish line, was there that day. She came back a year later, ran the Boston Marathon, sort of as her own personal statement. There's a lot of stories out there like that from people who were in Boston that day. What is your hope for the people of New England now that we have moved on to this next phase?
You mean the next trial phase?
At least the fact that this trial has ended. We're hearing the guilty verdicts on at least so far 21 of the 30 counts. It brings to end at least a portion of what has happened. What's your hope for the people now that that has ended?
Well, you know, it's not just because of the trial, because this phase of the trial has ended, but I think nearly everyone involved in it, either victim or participant or witness to the carnage that day, either by being there, being close to there, or by being reading about it or whatever. In a sense, with the entire region has moved on. We moved on. It was a huge marathon last year. Participants were joyous and successful. It was a successful marathon. So it's in a sense, since that day, it has been a marathon. People moving on with their lives each and every day, trying to put it behind them. You're never going to put the memory of what happened that day behind you, but you are going to, as you said, you're going to be filled with the kind of resolve to go back last year, run the marathon, run it again this year, witness it this year, and see in this country, we do justice to what happened. We have a young man not from this country who came here with his brother, committed an act of terror. We had a public trial where a jury of peers, not his peers, but our peers, regular citizens, postal workers, clerks, teachers, a nurse, sat in judgment and rendered a verdict today, and they'll render another verdict now, beginning probably next Monday, on whether this young man loses his life in the electric chair or some form of capital punishment, or spends the rest of his life in a Supermax facility in Florence, Colorado, where he gets 1 hour a day outside and spends the rest of 22 hours of each day by himself in solitary. That's what we do. That's justice dispensed by citizens. It's unique in the world, and we do it.
Mike Barnicle, the former Boston Globe writer with deep New England roots and perspective now that the Boston Marathon bomber Dzhokhar Tsarnaev has been found guilty on so far 29 of 30 counts pertaining to the Boston Marathon bombing in April of 2013. We'll be taking you